the child. It's your main man here, Double H Half Hope, man. It's been a long time since we've done these movie film discussions because obviously it's been a very, very heavy few weeks. But I thought it's good to sort of bring our things down and just try to get back to just talking about stuff, talking about stuff just to help to lift our spirits, because there've been a lot of hour streams. There've been 4-hour streams, 5-hour streams where we have gone into detail through racism. I slept like a crack addict last night because we talked for 5 hours. So I think it's time to go back to movies. One of my major, huge passions. So again, this of course is a movie Q&A. But before I answer your questions, there's a few movie news I want to sort of get into and really talk about before we have a back and forth. So remember, guys, cinema is back. Have Hope Cinema is back. It has returned. It is back stronger yet than ever. What up, baby? What up, baby? And tonight's film is Office Space. Let me just see. Is that what it's called? Yeah, it's Office Space. Yeah, Office Space. A very, very. It's a comedy, but a very, very smart comedy, and it's a very important comedy. For me, Office Space was the film that made me say I cannot have a 9 to 5. Came out in 1999, and it was within the midst of films like, what's it called? Like, Fight Club, The Matrix, American Beauty. So sort of 1999 was sort of that year in which the films that were being released were really questioning a lot of stuff, about society, about work, and about what we're doing within our lives. So if you just look up a list of the films that came out in 1999, you will see a very interesting synergy with the kinds of themes that they talk about there. So, first thing that we want to try and pop on for is Tenet. I want to talk about Tenet. So now, before I sort of get into it, like Nolan has said, because I was looking at the news for Tenet and stuff when I was researching this stuff, and Nolan has said that he wants this film to be the film that reignites cinema reopening. So this film comes out in July, and they're sticking to that date in July. So they're not moving from that date. So they definitely want to come back, bring this in, and try and get people, because I think people are still sort of a bit worried, a bit scared. Should we go out to the cinema? Should we not? What should we do? Blah, 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 blah. But I do think that this is maybe a film in which, because it's such a big film, it's hugely anticipated from Nolan. This might get people to come out into the cinemas. And who knows? Who thought that we would be at a point where we would have some shops opening and we'd have for football matches even been playing behind closed doors in June? So a month is a long time, because this comes out, I think, Tenet, I think it's the end of July. Tenet release date. 17th of July. 17th of July. So it comes out in mid-July. So there we go. So let's talk about Tenet, because there are a few various things I want to talk about within this film. I want to talk about Nolan. I want to talk about John David Washington, Robert Pattinson, just the blockbuster, because this is the blockbuster, man. So let's your boy put a thing in there. So Tenet discussion. Let me put a boy in there. Nah, that's not gonna work. So let's look at the first trailer. When I saw the first trailer for Tenet, it was like, okay, what the hell is this? And I think that's sort of the great job for a teaser to do, because I think a teaser is a teaser. And I think far too many times in films, we don't get teased enough. People just want to just show everything, and always be wary of those films that show you everything, which is why what I respect about Nolan, I've got my issues with Nolan, but what I respect about Nolan is that whenever he releases a teaser or trailer for his films, they interest you, but they don't give away the whole pie. They interest you, they draw you in, but they don't give away the whole pie. And I think because his films are so plot heavy and they're filled with so many different plot points, story points, ideas, twists, he sort of holds his deck in trailers, which I think is always good. So when you saw the first thing, I was like, okay, parallel universe, a parallel world. And this is a world in which everything is sort of going backwards. But we weren't really given much context as to what the stuff was happening. But I think in this latest trailer is like, we get it. So we now have the plot where it's end of the world. Kenneth Branagh is this Russian dude, I think he played a Russian in another film. He's this Russian dude, and it's about, all right, we want to try and break down these guys and so forth. So, so that's cool. But I think we've now got, because again, we may be given something when we see the film, but I think the idea is, so we have this guy, John David Washington, who is obviously this dude who can maybe enter a parallel universe. So basically, John David Washington is playing the role similar to DiCaprio. He's an expert at this thing called, I can go into this parallel universe or parallel world where everything is, it's not everything is backwards, as he said. Like even in this thing, he said, it hasn't happened yet. So it hasn't happened yet. So they're going into a world in which it's mind-bending. So I think they're going into a world where things that are happening in the world are happening in the past. So they can get it before it happens. Similar to Minority Report. I think it's a very similar concept to Minority Report, where Minority Report's concept was, we can stop crimes before they happen because we can see into the future. So, which is why it's mind-bending, because because again, as you see in the trailer, like the bullets comes back to him. So it's basically, and as you say, and that's the beauty. I will get to my issues with the trailer, but the beauty about it is that it's such an interesting idea. Same thing with Inception. Inception was like, oh my gosh, that's a brilliant idea. Like that is a really brilliant idea. Like, wow, you can let us dive into other people's dreams, and we can plant an idea into their dreams that can change things. I'll give you my issue with Inception, but so it's Tenet. I think it is. So what I would like to see is all the crazy concepts and how they even fight. Because even the fights and everything, it's so crazy, because are they going backwards or have things already happened? It's basically it's weird. It's weird, and then that's the beauty. It's weird because even me, I'm currently sitting saying, what the F's happening? But then, you see, when I looked at the trailer, see, I am big on visuals. And when you're doing a blockbuster, visuals are very important. Of course, story is important. Story is important because you want a really great story. Because if it's just about visuals, then you have that brick clown class A dude called Zack Snyder. But I think you have to marry the two, i.e. with having really good visuals and a strong story. And I admit with you, when I saw the second trailer for Tenet, I did feel a bit bored. I did feel a bit bored. Because I was like, things just, it's just, the stuff is really popping off so much. Because again, I think if you're giving this to a Spielberg or a James Cameron, you'd see much more intensity. And I think there needs to be an oddity and an intensity with the kind of action scenes, which I think Nolan lacks. Now let's talk about John David Washington. You see, I will always support him because I'm a huge Denzel fan. I'll always support John David because I'm a huge Denzel fan. And I think he's in a very difficult position because this is a huge film and a huge role. But because again, I am so happy that they have a black lead. Hugely happy that there's a black lead, but they could have picked a better actor. You put Nate Parker or Daniel Kaluuya in this role, oh my God, you have a ridiculous film, because even if I had my issues with Inception, a strong part of one of the strong parts of Inception was DiCaprio's performance. And I'm not the biggest DiCaprio fan, but DiCaprio really sold that lead man thing, because DiCaprio may have the kind of leading man look for Hollywood, but because he's such a good actor, he gives it that extra edge. So because I can already see in the second trailer that I'm not sure whether John David will be able to truly carry this film. I mean, what is in his favor is that I think he's got a very good look. I like his look, and I think we've never seen, and this is even my brother was saying this to me, because my brother said, wait a minute, we've never seen a black lead in a high concept film. Think about it. Have we ever seen a black lead in a high concept tentpole summer blockbuster? We've never seen that before. And I just wish that this opportunity could be given to a truly high-tier actor like a Nate Parker or a Daniel Kaluuya. We'll see what happens, but I can already tell that he will be okay, but I think that he won't be able to sell a lot of the very, very key scenes. You look at Robert Pattinson, I would have preferred if he played an American. I'll be real with you. I think when I just saw him with his posh accent, I was like, why does he have to be English? I would have preferred if he played an American. But I'm already willing to take a bet that I think, John David will be much more dynamic because look, he's black, so he's already got that thing. But I think Pattinson will out-act him because Pattinson is just a stronger actor. Like Pattinson is not the greatest actor, but I think he will out-act him in this based on just what his acting thing is about. But you see, again, so you go back to Inception, and this is my issue with Nolan. Nolan has amazing ideas. His ideas are amazing. The idea for Inception is amazing. The idea for Interstellar is amazing because I'm a big space dude with thinking about all the kind of stuff in space. But the idea for Inception is crazy. Wow. Let us enter inside people's dreams and implant certain ideas into their heads. That's a freaking amazing idea. But my issue with Inception is that so you just press a button and you enter. You've not explained the tech. You've not explained the invention. You've not explained the devices. Because remember in The Matrix, when they used to plug, you saw the devices, the technology, the software. You're like, okay, all right, so this is how these guys enter Blade Runner. So you have to explain the process of how they enter into people's brain, but not only explain it, show what the device is. It's not literally, it was just a flipping red button. Like, bro, what the heck? And also Inception, bro, I'm here to have fun. This is a summer blockbuster. I get it. You want it to be clever. This is a summer blockbuster. We're here to pop off. We're here to pop off. Too much dialogue. Way too much dialogue. Way too much dialogue. Come on, chillax real. So I just think that, Nolan shouldn't, when you're trying to release a mass film, it's a balance. You have to have a balancing act. Balancing act of like, good, let's treat our audience with much greater respect. Not that piece of crap, Bale or Snyder. Let's try and create a high level of plot, high level of story, greater concept, which is great. But at the same time, it's a summer blockbuster. It's not a November film. Like a November March film, which is a thriller, that's cool. Things are cool. You only go in there if you're a film merchant like me. But that summer film, everyone is out. You're releasing it to everybody. You have to pop off. Yes, you want to explain. Yes, you want to go deep, but you've got to pop off. And I don't think Nolan pops off enough in terms of bringing in that swag. So, but look, I'm going to watch it because I am interested because I know there will be interesting things there. I don't think I will fully like it because I think that I will have the same issues that I had with Inception. The funny thing with Inception is that there are scenes in it. By the way, Hans Zimmer's score for Inception. So yeah, don't mess with Hans Zimmer, man. Don't mess with your boy Hans Zimmer. Hans Zimmer's score. Hans Zimmer right now is the best composer in the world based on like for form. So let's talk football. Based on form, Hans Zimmer is the best composer right now. Hans Zimmer's score for Inception is basically I think it's called Dream is Collapsing. Look up that track, Dream is Collapsing, Inception. That's on my playlist. That song is bananas. Because Hans Zimmer was supposed to do the score for this film, but Hans Zimmer is doing the Dune score. Oh my God. Because remember, Hans Zimmer did Blade Runner 2049 for your boy Villeneuve. So he said, Villeneuve, what up, baby? This is a huge, because Dune is going to be huge. Dune is that's my crack. Dune is my crack. December, that's my crack. Villeneuve, that's huge. He's huge. So, because that's going to be key. The teaser for Dune is going to be key. The teaser for Dune is going to be key. So for Tenet, I think with Tenet, like, I am just interested to see, okay, what kind of ideas does he have in there? But I just hope that Nolan learns from his mistakes in, I think, Inception and Interstellar, where you have to have a balancing act of, let's go deep in the story, let's go deep in the plot, but manage it in a better way. Manage it in a better way. That's what I hope. What do you guys say? What do you guys say, man? Or reality bending matches, man. Say that track, bro. That track, it's insane. It's insane. It's giving me, for me, it won't be Memento. For me, this literally will be like Inception. It's because I can already tell by the trailer. So see, remember, Memento was very, very linear. Memento was extremely plot heavy because Memento is all about the plot. Memento is all about the plot. This you can see. This must have cost at the very least 200 mil. This would have cost at the very least 200 mil. So it's a balancing act there. So, but I think this will be more like Inception rather than Memento. Wait, I'm not criticizing, man. That's it. I am not criticizing this stuff, man. I'm not criticizing this stuff, man. This, you know, like it's all cool. But I'm just saying that I just think that I just have issues with how he makes his summer blockbusters, and I think that, bro, you can't over explain stuff. I still have no idea what the hell is happening in Inception. There are areas of Inception, like, bro, I'm tired, man. I don't understand what the hell is happening here. I don't get it. This stuff doesn't make any new stuff. It doesn't have anything. Yo, Joseph, man, we have to talk about Korra, man. I don't know where you are, but Joseph, we've got to talk about Korra. Um, there you go. 205. That's. Let me level with you. If you're making a film with the budget of 200 mil, this better be. I should see aliens, spaceships, and I should basically see planets collide. With 200 million, I should see planets collide, because do you really need to make a film for 200 mil? Because I think, what's it called? Inception was like 100 and something mil. And I think half of the budget for that film was that train sequence where that train went through the city. And I'm like, wait, okay, and it was sort of inconsequential. So look, it is what it is, man. But I don't see the need to make a film for 205 mil. And the crazy thing though is that, you see, what costs so much are special effects. So something like an Avengers Endgame, that has to cost that much because you have like about 500 characters and you have so much CGI and so much computer effects in there. So that makes sense. But something like this does really need to cost 200 mil. But then we have to see, because I mean, we'll have to see what kinds of of sequences that he uses there. But look, I said again, let me be clear. I am interested to see the story. Hence why whenever I see these films, I read nothing about the stories, the plot, and I try and stay away from any kinds of interviews that give away too much. Because the best way to watch films is you go in there fresh. The less you know about the film, the more you enjoy it. So literally, I've seen these 2 trailers. Cool. I don't need to know anything more. July 17th, let's pop off and let's see what's going. So yeah, I'm not. Let's pop off. Let's pop off. I am interested just to see what goes down. But again, I said again, John David. I don't really think that his decent is not great, and I think this needed a top tier actor. Because if you're having a film 205 mil, so much writing on it, I think you need like a higher level of actor. So that is thingy. So let's ride with this. Image address and go in. How many of you guys have seen Bill and Ted? Yeah, Batman. And that's the key thing. And if people have not, I think I'll be pissed. So how many of you guys here have seen Bill and Ted? Show of hands. I want to know in the live chat, how many of you guys have, just so I know where we stand, how many of you guys here have seen Bill and Ted? How many of you guys have seen Bill and Ted? Tell me in the live chat. I want to see in the live chat. I want to see a show of hands of those. So whether you've seen it and whether you've seen both. Whether you've seen it and whether you've seen both. Because the second one is probably, oh my God. You see now, okay, so we've seen yes. So you see, for me, for me, I'm one of those guys that I don't give anything away. And I always love when people haven't seen a film. I always love it when I haven't seen a film. Do yourselves a favor. See, because I wish, this would have been great too, but yeah, because it's not on Netflix or Prime Video, because this would have been a great film for a cinema watch, but I've already committed to Office Space. But Bill and Ted, both of those films are freaking hilarious. So I'll tell you what we're gonna do. So the next two Wednesdays, we'll watch. We will watch both Bill and Ted's. Next two Wednesdays, we will watch both Bill and Ted's. That's what we're going to do. These films are classics. These films are classics. And you know how they say that Arnie was born to play the Terminator? That role was made for him? The role of, and I think Keanu is Bill. Correct me if I'm wrong, I think Keanu is Bill, and I think is it Dean Winter, something Winter? I think he's Ted. I think so. This role was made for Keanu. It literally was made for Keanu, and I think it's the one that sort of really shot him to fame. But it's hard for me to. I don't even want to give away what the story or the plot is because you just have to watch it. Because the film are just about these two guys and their personalities. You know, similar to even I ever watch Ang, The Legend of Ang, like the cartoon. Why Ang was so amazing was the story is cool. The characters were flipping amazing. What makes it so good is that the story is cool. The plot is pretty cool. The characters are flipping incredible with superb chemistry. Absolute superb freaking chemistry. So that is why you have to watch that. And because I grew up with Bill and Ted. I grew up with Bill and Ted. And Bill and Ted are one of those rare films that the second film is as good, if not better. I think Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, I think, is the first one. And I think Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure is the second one, I believe. And I think, the second one is better. Yeah, the second one is better. I'm not remembering the second one is better than the first one. And obviously, the trailer for the third one has come out. And this is the key thing. This is the key thing. Listen, whenever they bring out these films, like what's it called? They remember they brought out like the third film for Dumb and Dumber, and it was trash. Or the sequel to Mask, Son of Mask, trash. A lot of times, why these films are trash is because the people who wrote the original films aren't involved. Like that Ghostbusters piece of crap, like the chick flick, basically with all those girls. Hey, girl power, hey, woman. That piece of crap. That film was a piece of crap because the original writers, Harold Ramis, Dan Aykroyd, were not involved in the writing process. It was that flipping loser Paul Feig who put out that piece of trash, Ghostbusters, which is let me be clear here. It's a piece of trash. Not because they're women and everything like that. It's not a sexism thing. It's because the film is a piece of complete, utter trash garbage. Now, the beauty of this is this is written, or rather co-written, by the guy who wrote the first two films. That is vital. Because when I saw the trailer, I was like, oh my gosh, this is hilarious. This is the jokes are hitting, they hit the chemistry, and it's like, yes, the writer or the first two films is doing this. But this leads me to another point. And let me ask the audience. Has there ever been a third film of a trilogy that has been the best film? Remember that. Has there ever been the third film of a trilogy that has ever been the best film? Let me Joe, relax, bro, relax. Let me hear from you. Has there ever been the third film of a trilogy that's been so Horace, okay, so Keanu is Ted and Winters is Bill. I think you're right. I think you're right. I think you are right. Wait, yeah, I think you're right, man. I think I think you're probably right. I think he's Ted. Has it ever been? No. Die Hard 3 is better than Die Hard 2. You're not going to tell me that Die Hard 3 is better than Die Hard 1. You see, the first 20 minutes of Die Hard 3 is the best of all three films. Those first three films of Die Hard 3 are flipping amazing. But Die Hard 1 is a classic. Die Hard 3 is not, because see, Die Hard 3, like after those first 20 minutes, it's still good, but the rest of the film doesn't live up to the heights of those first 20 minutes after they finish the whole Simon Says scheme. But now, I mean, let me break down all of these ones. It's cool. Let me break down all these ones. John Wick 3. John Wick 3 is good. It's the weakest of all three. Because John Wick 1 was damn good. John Wick 2 is the best in the series. John Wick 3, it's amazing action and everything, but for me, the issue with John Wick 3 was that it wasn't an ending. You see, because I thought that, you're supposed to round this off. John Wick 3 just seemed like another entry. And it didn't give us a full stop to the John Wick arc. And it should have. Because if John Wick 3, they committed to an ending and they really went all out and they had a villain that was really fully that dynamic. Because see, I thought John Wick 3, you know what I thought was John Wick 3? I thought it was going to go bananas. I thought John Wick 3, this guy fights samurai in Japan. Because remember that guy who is in Last Samurai, not Ken Watanabe, but his second in command. The guy that has like a really cool look with like short dude with like slicked black hair. I think he was in the ring. I think the dude was in the ring. Because I thought he'd be the main villain. And John Wick has to fight samurai with samurai swords in Japan. I thought bananas, and it would be like an ending. So John Wick 3 for me it just felt like another entry. Which is good, but it just felt like another entry. And for me, John Wick 2 is John Wick 2 is one of the best action films of all time. John Wick 2 is one of the best action films of all time. John Wick 3 didn't say what's up the way that John Wick 2 said what's up. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. If you're looking at the three, because the thing about this is that it's not really a trilogy. See, for me, a trilogy is where all the stories connect. And Fistful of Dollars is a ripoff of Yojimbo, the Akira Kurosawa film. It's a complete ripoff. Few Dollars More is a masterpiece. That is an absolutely amazing film. The Good, Bad, and Ugly has nothing to do with Few Dollars More. Like Clint Eastwood's name in Good, Bad, and Ugly isn't even the same name as Few Dollars More, so they're completely different. So now, you see, I haven't seen Last Crusade in a while. And Last Crusade, see, all three films are amazing. This is similar to the Good, Bad, and Ugly thing. This are sort of connected, but not really. They're sort of connected, but not really. But even if you say that they're connected, Raiders of the Lost Ark was nominated for an Oscar. Raiders of the Lost Ark that's a classic film. And that is the best film in the series. My favorite is Temple of Doom. Temple of Doom is my personal favorite. You know, Kalima, Shakti Day. But Raiders of the Lost Ark is objectively the best film of those three. Like Raiders of the Lost Ark is Spielberg to the max. That's a Spielberg OTT Spielberg. What's it called? No. And Back to the Future 3, Back to the Future 1 and 2 are two of the greatest films of all time. You know, and for me, Back to the Future 2, I would argue, is one of the greatest films of all time. That's part 2, one of the greatest films of all time. Return of the King. Return of the King was massive. It was epic. Fellowship of the Ring is the best film in the series. Two Towers is amazing. The best film of all three is Fellowship of the Ring. Return of the King was just massive, was a huge event, but as a film, as a narrative, as a story, beginning, middle, and end, Fellowship of the Ring. Fellowship of the Ring is the best film of those three. So there has the closest is Star Wars, because Return of the Jedi is still a damn good film. It's just that it's just not as good as A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. But Return of the Jedi is still a damn good film. And Return of the ending for Return of the Jedi, that's how you end a trill. That's how you end a trill. So the closest we've had is Return of the Jedi. That is the closest we've had. Is that? But yeah, so that's the thing. We have never had a trilogy where the third film is undoubtedly and the undisputed best film of the trilogy. We've never had that. We've never had that, and that's huge. That is huge. So that is definitely something that I'll be like, well, can we get a sign? Can we get a sign? Can we get a sign? So yeah, Bill and Ted 3. I'm in. When is it coming out? When is Bill and Ted 3 coming out? Sorry, Bill and Ted 3 release date. Ah, shit. 21st of August. Fuck. That's also. Hope that's. Oh, that's in the UK. Fuck. Shit. All right. Well, damn it. It's fine. We'll get there. So, yeah, no. Look. But guys, you 100% have to watch those two films. Those two films are flipping hilarious. Flipping hilarious. And the reason why they're so funny is because these two characters are these two are super funny. Oh, what the hell? These two are super, super funny, man. Now, whoa, hey, sure, Bill. Oh my God, no way. Now, these guys, they're iconic, man. Totally iconic. So let's now it's okay. Now, this is where we now get deep. This is now where we now get deep. Whereas I need a good thing. But this now we now get see. This is now this is not my thing. This is not my thing. This is now where we now get deep now. So I put a vid, and the vid that I put out. Why is this thing so flipping dark? I put out a vid, and okay, I think that's better. And the vid that I put out was about the Batman shebang and how Matt Reeves is thinking of including Joker as part of the trilogy. Guys, can we please be honest here? Can we just please be honest here? The Joker is not a great character. I said it. Let's cut the crap and let's just be real here. And this is something that nobody's willing to say. The Joker as a character is not an interesting character. Like Batman, if you want to do Batman properly, not that garbage that you see where he's this superhuman dude. Batman is an incredibly amazing character to play. There is so much juice. There's so much psychological juice there. The Joker, see, you have to be clear here. The Joker is a fun character. He's fun. He's electrifying. He's not interesting. You see, Two-Face is interesting. Batman is arguably one of the most interesting characters if you take him seriously. Like if you put away all the crap that he's this super genius, he's this playboy, he can fight aliens. If you put away all the crap and just say this guy is just a regular man who is psychologically damaged, and his catharsis is dressing up as a bat. So he's actually mad. Like what people don't understand about Bruce Wayne and Batman and what makes it amazing, he's mad. If you dress up as a bat, you're mad. You're a psycho. You're unstable, which is why it would make him very dangerous. It's in criminals because you criminals, you're not fighting a Boy Scout. You're fighting a guy who is a borderline psycho. Because to dress up as a bat to fight things, something is wrong with you. You're not cool. You're not sexy. You're not a playboy. Something is wrong with you. But I digress. Going back to the whole Joker thing. I'm bored. We've seen him too many times. Jared Leto, Ledger, Phoenix. It's too much. It's too much. So now you're gonna bring in a new Joker when we just had a Joker from Phoenix and Jared Leto is still sort of floating around believing that he's still the Joker. It's too much. Batman, and I think that was what guys were saying in the video. Batman has so many iconic villains. He has so many iconic villains to choose from. As I said again, guys, and this is what my brother said, which was so right, because I was having a discussion with my brother about this, I think, a few years ago. My brother said, forget Joker, Two-Face. That's the dude. The Two-Face we got in Dark Knight was that was only scratching the surface. You know, because you're dealing with so much with a guy like Two-Face, because he wants to create drama. There is so much drama you can create from the Harvey Dent Two-Face storyline. There's so much drama you can create from the flipping Riddler storyline. So him, you know that, because also my thing is this, is that, wait a minute, is this dude gonna fight like 4 or 5 villains in one film? That's like back to the 60s Adam West TV show, which is crap. Batman is just be 1v1. Mano a mano. Mano, I've taken off my mask. It's time for you to take off yours. Batman. Tell me in a world where a guy dressed up as a bat gets all of my press. This town needs an enema. Look, man, I've been quoting Jack Nicholson for ages, man. You know, I've given a name to my pain. It's Batman. You've got a flying mouse to kill, and I need to clean my claws. Easy. Don't get me started. Gotham City always puts a smile on my face. Winged freak. Terrorize it. Way to get a load of me. Boop, boop. Don't get me started, guys. Don't listen. You're releasing the very AJHH. You're releasing the very AJHH, man. Little song, little dance. Batman's head on the lance. Tell me, what do you know about? But the key thing here is, but the key thing here is, let's just go away from that. First off, before we even get there, let's deal with the stuff on the ground. This can't fly. Basically, I'm going to call him Matthew Jeremiah. You cannot release a film where this guy has a condom as his cow. That can't happen. I won't allow it. You ain't going to do it. You've got time. He can't wear a rubber condom as his cow. That's the first thing. Second thing, I will leave the cinema. If a whole Batman rolls up to a bank being robbed, he rolls up in a Fiat de Punto. He rolls up in a caravan. People say, oh, but it's early days. It's early. He doesn't have a Batmobile. He's still rich. I will not accept a whole Batman, a guy wearing a basket, and he exits a car like the doors open normally. Because that's what Jody was saying from Jody's corner. And Jody's right. You can't have that. This is Batman. You cannot have that, man. You can't. If that happens, that's ridiculous. That's really ridiculous, man. What direction would you go with Two-Face? Basically, that's what everyone has said. Like, you look at No Country for Old Men, Anton Chigurh. Like, that is the angle you go for. That is the angle that you go for. That is where you really get the interesting thing. Like, I said that you hinted at it. You hinted at it in Dark Knight. Batman Forever was just campy. But what you do is, and what I always said is that Harvey Dent is a dick. He's not a great guy. Because in Dark Knight, Harvey Dent was the white knight, the angelic figure. Read the Long Halloween. The graphic Long Halloween. Harvey Dent, the dude was an arrogant dude who also was a bit odd and a bit weird, which makes his transition to Two-Face make sense. Because I always thought, why would a regular guy like Harvey Dent in Dark Knight suddenly just go crazy because half your face is burnt off? Like, why would you? Why? I mean, So, but it would only work if you yourself, you were already a bit crazy, and this was just the catalyst and the tipping point was you getting your face scarred. But for me, I think you have to just go because see that was a dark take, but we just did not see more of it. So, but I just think you have to go for an edgier take where the key thing, the transition from Harvey Dent to Two Face, it makes sense. I didn't buy the transition of Harvey Dent to Two Face. Because remember in Dark Knight, Harvey Dent, it's your fault. If you went to moving around and Rachel, if you went to moving around and shoving around, you wouldn't have had half your face burnt. So that's on you. That's on you. So, but in the comics and how it happens is Maroni scarred his face. So Maroni poured acid on the side of his face, and that's what happened, and that's what made me didn't go crazy. So it wasn't really his fault. But in Dark Knight, it was his fault. It was his fault, man. So my thing is that you see, people kept on talking about Hugo Strange. I don't really know that much about Hugo Strange. I've seen him in bits here and there in the comics and so forth, but I don't really know of him to that great degree, But I still feel that Two-Face and Riddler should be the ones, And I'm just hoping that in this film, Penguin is in there, but this film, the main guy is the Riddler. That is the main guy, that Falcone and all those dudes, they're like the sidemen. And you see, if Matt Reeves is smart, he can succeed where Nolan failed, where Harvey Dent should be in this film. So this first film should just only be Harvey Dent. And he gets his face scarred at the end of the second film. So he's Harvey Dent for this film and for 2/3 of the second film. And then you set up a thing where the third film, the villain is Two-Face. But because what you missed in the Dark Knight was you never really bought the relationship between Harvey Dent and Bruce Wayne. But if you build it up and you build it up over the films, then you build up to a very, very good third film chapter where you can tie in and have a story arc that really chronicles all the three films. So that's what you wanted to do. Yeah, actually, you see, that was a damn good comic, man. I don't know how many of you guys read Hush. What's it called? It's Jim Lee, who is a crazy artist. Yeah, Jim Lee and Jeff Loeb. The artwork in that thing is stunning. Like Jim Lee that guy is a crazy artist. But for me, it's like Hush is cool. And Hush should probably work for what I think Matt Reeves is going for. But I'll still go for something else. I'll still opt for something else. All right, guys, look, man, I'll take your questions, man. Last 50 minutes. Last 50 minutes, I will take thy questions, man. So send in those questions, bro. Send in those questions, and I shall take your questions. Anything movie-wise. Keep it movies, man. Keep things movie-wise, and I'll answer your questions, man. Keep it with the movies, man. Who is more reliable, Batman or Spider-Man? Probably Batman, because he's older, and I think he's much more driven. I think Spider-Man is sort of driven with the whole Uncle Ben thing and everything, but because he's mostly younger and he's younger than Batman. He's prone to make more mistakes. And you see, remember, like Spider-Man still has to deal with, his girlfriend, school, and May, and all that kind of stuff. For Batman, remember, this is Batman with no Robin. All he is yeah, okay, there's Alfred, and that's it. But it's just he's a lone wolf, lone warrior. No girlfriend, no wife, no family, no friends. Boom, he's just solo. Yeah, you could argue, see, Selena Kyle is like on and off. That's like an on and off relationship, but really, because he's such a solo act, he's much more driven. And a guy that is more driven and more focused is far more reliable than a guy who has to think about so many different things, So that's the thing. Ooh, that's a good one. Top 5 movie soundtracks. Oh, that's a great one. See, we should have even done see that's a great top 10. That's a great top 10. So in no particular order, you've got to look at Gladiator. You have to look at Dances with Wolves. You've got to look at Star Wars, probably A New Hope. Actually, no, Star Wars, probably Empire Strikes Back. Um, Man of Steel. Man of Steel. Trash film. Trash film. The soundtrack. Oh, Snyder, man. Snyder. Guy's a moron. And then I would say probably. I mean, I would argue the Captain America First Avenger as well. Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones. There's so many. So, I mean, but for sure, yes. So basically, you have to look at Indiana Jones, probably Raiders of the Lost Ark. So, but no, that's simple. So, Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Gladiator. I'd argue Blade Runner. Blade Runner. Vangelis. What's it called? Man of Steel, Dances with Wolves. That's my 5 lakh. That's my 5 lakh, man. Unbreakable is a good shout. Unbreakable is a good shout because that's what. It's not Harry Gregson. It's the guy, James Newton Howard. James Newton Howard, yeah, because that was James Newton Howard did that. Unbreakable is good. Unbreakable is pretty crazy, man. Yeah, I have seen Gone Girl. I have seen Gone Girl because that's Gone Girl. That's David Fincher. That's David Fincher. If they did it, how you say, and the trilogy started as just a criminal law drama, Alan Nicholson in You Can't Handle the Truth, and the third film was Two-Face, that it would be better than anything we've seen. So if they did say that the trilogy started as just a criminal law drama, no, for me, there is a perfect opportunity to make a really amazing trilogy if they use the Harvey Dent arc, because that is an amazing tragic story. And when many people say, see, the thing about a great story, and because we're sick as human beings, we are attracted to tragedies, is we know what's going to happen, but we want to see it. So we're somehow attracted to the fall of someone. It's so crazy that we are more attracted to the fall of someone than the rise of someone. So if you had that where it's similar to like a law drama, a crime drama, and obviously you have Riddler as the main villain in the first one. Second one, maybe you now have the Penguin coming, or maybe you want to bring the Hugo or whatsoever. But then in the final one, it's Two-Face. And why that is interesting, because that villain is more personal. And it is a villain who the audience have a personal attachment with, because we've seen what he was and we've seen his devolution over the course of 2 films. So because Harvey Dent was just shoved into one film in Dark Knight, remember in Dark Knight, you had Harvey Dent and Two-Face and Joker. So you had 2 villains. That was always a bad move. You should always have just one villain, where it's the hero, villain, that's the focus. Two-Face is too great a character to have to share screen time with any other character. So I think if they were able to do that, you'd have a damn good trilogy. In your opinion, is Kubrick a tier 1 director? See, the thing with Kubrick is this. There are 2 aspects to directing. 2 key aspects. Visuals, the look, setting, like what you see, scenery-wise, and storytelling. How you execute and you tell a story. So the choices that you make, scene to scene. Because remember, the director is like the architect. He sees the whole blueprint. See, the producer, the production designer does one little bit there. The composer does one little bit there. The costume designer does be there, stylist does won't be there, but the director is the guy that has control of everything, which is why they always say, like, when I was doing films, like they always said, like, the actor is the director's bitch. It's true. We are the director's bitch as actors. Whatever you want, we can ask when we talk, but whatever the director wants, he said the director is the head, he's the captain, he's the head honcho. So in terms of visuals, Kubrick is arguably one of the best cinematographers of all time. Like, if you just look at what he puts on the frame and you look at what he does visually, he has done and thought up and conjured up some of the most iconic visuals ever seen in film. Look at the transition in Space Odyssey. Just look at any of the scenes in Clockwork Orange. Look at the scenes in the War Room in Strangelove. Some of the stuff that he's come up with is flipping insane. But I would say, like, his best film is Doctor Strangelove. Like, when you look at Clockwork Orange, The Shining, what's it called, Space Odyssey, the stories just don't pop off. Like the stories just don't really grab you. Like, you're amazed by what the story is, and the plot and so forth. But same thing, Full Metal Jackets. Like, it just is as if he doesn't really know how to really execute the story well. It's almost as if you took Spielberg's or James Cameron's storytelling ability and Kubrick's visuals, you'd have like the perfect film. So he's a tier 1 director in terms of visuals, but in terms of storytelling, maybe tier 2 or tier 3. Maybe tier 2 or tier 3. Do you prefer CGI, practical effects, or a combination of both? I've always preferred practical effects. Always. That's what I grew up with. That's what I appreciate more. And the thing about it is that sometimes some things have to be done in CGI. Like, if you're doing like a massive, huge world in space, in a distant world, and so forth, that has to be done in CGI. But if you're doing a creature and specific creatures and stuff, it doesn't need to be CGI. CGI will always be dated. Now, there will be a point when CGI is so good, it won't get dated. Remember Gollum? Back in 2002, Gollum was insane. It was like, my God, this is flipping amazing. It shocked us all. Look at Gollum now. It's still pretty good. It's aged. And you can now tell how it looks a bit fake and computery. Look at the effects of The Thing. Look at the effects in Total Recall. Look at the effects in The Exorcist. These are films that were made 20, 30 years ago. And those things still look good because practical effects are real. They can never age because it's real. It's really there. But CGI is continually getting better. And because of our human eye, we can tell when something isn't really moving real. So we can tell through CGI, that doesn't really move real. Look at Avatar. When Avatar first came out, I was like, oh, shit, look at that. We watch Avatar now. Seems a bit computery. So if you have to use CGI, then you use CGI. But if it's a choice, I would always choose practical effects over CGI. If you have a choice, always take practical effects over CGI. That was one of the things that pissed me off about Prometheus. I was hyped for Prometheus. I was super hyped because the effects in Alien and Aliens are some of the best effects you'll ever see. But for some strange reason, Ridley Scott decided to make the alien the xenomorph CGI. I'm like, really, why? Why do you have to make the xenomorph CGI? You made it using practical effects back in the 70s and 80s. Why is that? Because we're now like in the future computer world, you have to make it CGI. You don't have to. So yeah, that's my thing, man. Do you think Robin could walk in a Batman movie? No. That's just my personal preference. I've never liked Robin because the idea of Robin dilutes Batman. Batman works best alone. because I just think that orphan, parents died, mentally unstable. The story works best if it's a guy who is a lone wolf, a Ronin, and so forth. You bring in Robin, you take away all that juice and all things that are interesting about the Batman character. You have a dude who this dude wears red, yellow, and green. It's like, what? Which is why, like, when they asked him, Button, oh, what are you thinking of Robin? So Button was like, man, fuck no. No, hell no. What? Because when I think of Batman, I just think black. Black, dark, edgy, all that stuff. So to now come in with a guy in a world that is very dark, seedy, with a guy that wears red, green, and yellow, nah, nah. Listen, this simply, why aren't trilogies recorded like The Lord of the Rings? All three movies at the same time with the same director. And it's about cost. Lord of the what Peter Jackson did with now be very clear here. So let me just backtrack. So what they did in The Lord of the Rings is they initially filmed it at the same time, but they had reshoots. So when we were watching Fellowship of the Ring, they were called back. So Viggo Mortensen, all those dudes were called back to do more extra shoots on Two Towers and Return of the King. When Two Towers came out to do reshoots on Return of the King. So they were still continually filming, but they filmed the initial bulk all at the same time. And remember, this was done in New Zealand by Weta, the production house. So they found a way to make it cost effective, doing it all at the same time. But in normal Hollywood systems and so forth, that is a bit more difficult to do. Based on if in a Hollywood system, the costs are far higher, you know. But and also remember as well, depends what trilogy you're making. The Lord of the Rings, all the books are there, all the films are there. So you can just do it as once. And maybe that is a good idea. That if you're doing a trilogy where the story is already written, film it at the same time and just continually do reshoots. But for instance, with the example of Star Wars or The Matrix, they only thought of the first film. They didn't have the entire story written out. So if you only have the first film, then it's like, oh wow, this first film did really well. We want a sequel. Then you have to now first think of the story of what is. You may have an idea, but it's not written down. So you have to think about what the story is. First draft, second draft, third draft, fourth draft, final draft. We do it then, and this is a process that takes at least 2 to 3 years. Then we then pump it down. So it really depends whether the story is already written or the story needs to be written. What is your favorite Terry Gilliam film and thoughts on him? And would you take him or De Palma? How are they similar? My favorite Terry Gilliam film is, it's actually wait. There are a few. My favorites is Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, but I think his best, because 12 Monkeys was really good. But what he did in Brazil was freaking great. It's just like I just didn't really like Brazil that much. But Brazil, in terms of what he did visually in Brazil and technically, is crazy. Some of the scenes and setups in Brazil are amazing. And him or De Palma, I would, and also they don't, by the way, they're not similar, but I personally would take De Palma. See, for me, it's hard because it depends. Which is why I say that they're not similar, because it depends what film you want. If I want a straight, strong drama, a character-driven drama, I'm going with De Palma. If I want something creative, inventive, mind-bending, I'm taking Terry Gilliam. And that's why they're totally different, because Terry Gilliam is heavy on visuals and Terry Gilliam really likes to be very trippy and very, out there and stuff. De Palma is about drama. So if you look at The Untouchables, you look at what's it called? Carlito's Way. You look at Scarface. These are character-driven dramas, very real, very grounded. So De Palma doesn't do all this, but Terry Gilliam's films are very psychedelic, likes and he really likes comedy and very irreverent comedy in his films. So they're coming from two totally different angles from there. So yeah, that's a pretty good thing, man. Is Jake Gyllenhaal a horseman? Donnie Darko, Zodiac, Prisoners, Nightcrawler, Enemy. See, for me, Jake Gyllenhaal is also he should have been Batman. I think he would have made a great Batman. And imagine if you see what I would have loved is who directed Nightcrawler? Director and Gilroy. I think he also did the J. Roman Israel with Denzel. If you had Dan Gilroy as director and Gyllenhaal, because Dan Gilroy did Nightcrawler, he wrote and directed Nightcrawler. So if Dan Gilroy wrote and directed a Batman film starring Jake Gyllenhaal, they can still do it. Do you know what I would do if I was DC? Look at Joker. That Joker film has nothing to do with this Batman film. Matt Reeves, cool. I would say this is a one-shot film. This has nothing to do with the Batman from the Matt Reeves films. It's a 15 or an 18. And it's just a one-shot, linear, beginning, middle, end film. And you just say, Dan, Jake, take a Batman story, 15, go with it. Ooh. Tight. That'd be tight. Because what Gyllenhaal did in Nightcrawler, I was like, boom. But I wouldn't call him a horseman. I think that there is still another truly great performance from Jake Gyllenhaal. I think Jake Gyllenhaal, he's waiting for that truly iconic performance. What you're seeing is that he's very, very consistent. Like as you see from all those films, like I'm a huge fan of I love Donnie Darko. Film is super weird. I have no idea what the hell the film's about, but I love Donnie Darko, and that's the first film that I saw of his. And and his sister in it, Maggie Gyllenhaal. But yeah, he's a very, very good actor. The guy's a very, very good actor, and so just say there's just something about him. There's something about that's just really interesting. But I still think that Nightcrawler showed you what this guy can really do. If you give him the right material, the right thing, you should show what this guy can really do. But I think he's still waiting for that truly iconic performance. We've been talking about Two-Face. We're talking about Harvey Dent. Remember, I said Ryan Gosling, Harvey Dent, Two-Face. I think I might tweet it now. If you roll up with Jake Gyllenhaal as Harvey Dent Two-Face, that's I don't think people haven't seen that. Because if you're up with, because that's transition. Him as a lawyer, really prickly, annoying, on your nerves lawyer, and his devolution to Two-Face. Ooh, Jake Gyllenhaal would do something crazy with that, man. Gyllenhaal will do something crazy with that. He would do something absolutely crazy with that, man. All right, maybe last few questions, and then I will get out of here. Did you enjoy Black Klansman? What's it called? Spike Lee's new film comes out this Friday. Thank you for reminding me. This Friday is Spike Lee's Vietnam film. Comes out on Netflix. Shout out to Netflix. Black Klansman had the potential to be a truly, truly quality film. It's a great story. That story is amazing. And it's based on a true story. What's it called? Ron Stallworth. Based on a true story. Very well directed. Fun. John D. Washington was cool. Your boy from Thingy, that was cool. I didn't like Spike Lee's take on the material. Again, very well directed. And Spike Lee doesn't. Spike Lee is an amazing director, so it is very well made, superly well made, and Spike Lee is very inventive in the kind of setups that he has. But he took an approach and he had a take that I wouldn't have if, let's say, I was directing it. I think he went for a bit too much of a comedic kind of take for it, even if there were real points, but it's much of like a comedic take. Whereas I think that story is so crazy and the material is so heavy, I think it would have been better if he just focused and just made it. I think if he just focused and just made it much more of a serious, hard-edged film, that would have been better. That would have been better, man. If he made it much more of a serious, hard-edged film. So I enjoyed it, but I was a bit disappointed. I was just slightly disappointed with it, man. I was just slightly disappointed with it, man. All right, final cue, man. Make it a good one. Final question, man. Guys, maybe one final question before I get the hell out of here. Let's make it a good one. Final question. Final question before your boy gets out of here, man. Think of something interesting, something to really sink my teeth into before I get the heck out of here. One final question, yeah. Final question, yeah. Final question, man. That's what I'm saying, man. Oh no. Well, I know, I said it, but like, I need. I've got a few things to do. I've got a few things to do. So just to remind you guys, well, tonight's film is Office Space. Tonight's film is Office Space. We will be popping off at 10:30 tonight for tonight's film, which is Office Space. So that's what we'll be rolling with, man. That's what we'll be rolling with. And I know. See, tomorrow is normally a top 10, but I think tomorrow I've got a few things to do. Your boy is out here in the streets doing his damn thing. Oh, wow, God bless. Okay, let me take this one, man. Is 12 Angry Men a perfect film? No. Now, that's an interesting one. What films would I say are perfect films? Perfect films. 7 is a perfect film. 7 is a perfect film. Back to the Future 2 is a perfect film. Probably say Shawshank Redemption is a perfect film. I'll probably say Shawshank Redemption as well as a perfect film. So I think maybe those are the three ones. Leave a relax, man. So yeah, I think Matrix. So no. So Back to the Future 2, 7. So Back to the Future 2, 7, and probably Shawshank Redemption. Those are the three perfect films. But 12 Angry Men is very good. 12 Angry Men is very good, but I wouldn't really put it as a perfect film. Guys, it's been swell. It's been real. I will see you guys soon. Just keep abreast of what is happening within the show and so forth and everything. I will post updates whenever I can. But stay true, stay real, stay healthy. Remember to visit the website. I post updates every day on the website, www.halfapods.com. And eat those veggies. Eat those damn veggies, guys. I'm out. Peace out. Become a Half Hope Sort member and gain access to exclusive videos and also the chance to watch films, anime, or different videos with your boy HH exclusively. Just click below on the join button to join in and become a Half Hope Sort member to gain access to these perks. Just click on the community icon over here to view the new members only posts just for you.